Welcome in, everybody, as we are getting set for the second episode of the Fantasy Four. And it's an exciting episode tonight because we're going to start our rankings for the quarterback position. So, very interesting position last year. As usual, couple surprises came out of nowhere that kind of took things over and really led to a lot of fantasy points being put up at a premium. So without further ado, we're going to get it going. This episode, we will give you our rankings 10 through 6. So these are guys you can probably target middle rounds. We will base these rankings off of 4-point touchdown passes. So without further ado, we'll get it started with my number 10 ranked quarterback. I got Deshaun Watson. Now, last year he finished 5th overall in fantasy. He had 331 total fantasy points. He averaged 22.3 fantasy points per game, played in 15 games last year. The reason why I see you have this drop off here from 5 to 10 is an obvious one. You lose DeAndre Hopkins. You bring in an often injury-prone Brandon Cooks alongside another often injury-prone player in Will Fuller, and I just don't trust this Texans team going into this season. Now, number 9, I go Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees, usually you see him a lot higher up on boards, especially in a league like ours where it's 6-point touchdown passes, so there's more of an emphasis on those touchdowns through the air than it would be like a rushing quarterback. However, he ranked 22nd a year ago. Now, obviously, that's because he missed 5 games due to injury, really 6 when you factor in the fact that he got injured in that first quarter against the Rams. He finished with just 228 fantasy points for the season, but he averaged 21 fantasy points per game. So I have him at 9, but he does have potential to jump up if he can stay healthy in what's supposed to be his final year. Now, number 8, I got Aaron Rodgers. We saw Aaron Rodgers have a drop-off last year. He finished 10th overall in fantasy, finished with 282 points. He only averaged 17.6 fantasy points per game. It's an interesting situation in Green Bay. They had a great season last year, finished with a great record, made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. But what makes me nervous going into this year is that they didn't do anything in the draft to address the receiver position in what was a loaded receiver class. So I see Aaron Rodgers kind of struggling, and that's why I have him at 8. Now, number 7, I have Carson Wentz. Now, this might be a surprise to you guys, but he ranked 9th last year in fantasy, and he was playing with receivers that were called up off the practice squad. His number 1 receiver through the end of last year was Greg Ward, who was a quarterback at Houston the year before. So it was a rookie quarterback who switched to receiver, who was his number 1 receiver near the end. Now you see him getting his players back healthy. He's got Alshon Jeffrey coming back, Deshaun Jackson back healthy. They just added Marquise Goodwin from the 49ers, and then they added Jalen Reagor in the draft. So they really loaded up with weapons around Carson Wentz. So I look for him to have a bounce back year, move up a couple spots in my ranking to number 7. And lastly, number 6, I've got the one, the only, dangerous Russell Wilson at number 6. He ranked 4th last year in fantasy at the quarterback position. He had 333 total fantasy points, averaged 20.85 fantasy points per game. And he's just Mr. Consistent. He's kind of bringing everybody back. Oh, they got Tyler Lockett back, but they also added Greg Olsen in free agency, the reliable tight end, and we know how Russell Wilson loves to use the tight end, so I think that'll be beneficial. The running game's still a bit of a question mark in Seattle, so they might ask him to do a lot, but that is why I have Russell Wilson number 6 in my fantasy rankings, taking a little bit of a drop, and you'll see why when you see my top 5 fantasy quarterback rankings. So, Trey, I'm going to kick it over to you. What is your initial thoughts of my quarterback rankings, and which quarterback stuck out the most to you that you kind of liked where they fit?
All right, so first and foremost, the numbers that I'm getting, top 12 fantasy quarterbacks of 2019. Let's start it off 10, right? Wentz, 9, Rodgers, 8, Kyler Murray, 7, Mahomes, 6, Allen, right? So with that being said, 5 of these 12 quarterbacks were drafted outside the top 12. And 2 of the top 3, a matter of fact, with Jackson and Prescott, were actually going in the teens. So I want to make this really clear as far as the draft strategy is concerned. Drafting quarterbacks later is much more profitable. It's something that really sticks out to me is going to be Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson finished 4th overall last year. But, the number one thing is, this is exactly why I don't draft a quarterback early, is because typically when you look at these numbers, with 5 of the top 12 quarterbacks in 2019 going outside of the top 12, and 2 of the 3, actually doing the same thing, with Prescott actually going in the teens. We'll get to that later, but yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it.
Awesome. So that's the first set of 10 through 6. So now we will kick it over to the Little Rocket Man, Joey Sirocco. What is your 10 through 6 looking like?
What's up? All right, it's your money-making boy right here. Got my power rankings. We're going to start with 10 through 6. Eric did a great job. Trey had some good analysis. Maybe a little surprise to everybody. I don't live in the old like most people. Number 10 is going to be Aaron Rodgers, okay? 2 years ago, he was injured, didn't have a full season. Last year was in the 4,000-yard range. This year is going to be the same place. Aaron Rodgers is going to be number 10. Now, we also have at number 9, Tom Brady, okay? Some people probably got the hype train going with Tampa Bay, but the man's old. He's in a new system. He's got some weapons. I agree with that, but I think he's a number 9 quarterback this year. It don't matter what system you're in, what point system you have, he's going to throw it. He's going to throw a lot more picks this year. Number 8, okay, get ready for this. We got my boy Josh Allen, okay? He's got a fresh new Ferrari with Stephon Diggs. They're going to load it up. Devin Singletary's ready to roll. He's going to light all the points up this year. So number 7, I also have Matt Ryan at number 7, okay? Matt Ryan, every player on the Atlanta Falcons offense is a first-round draft pick. Every starter that's going to play for them is a first-round draft pick. They also got Todd Gurley. We'll get into that another day, but I love that signing. So number 6 is going to be just same thing as Eric. I'm with Russell Wilson. As much as I'm a 49er fan and I hate the Seahawks, but the man is consistent. He said it. He hit the nail on the head. The guy's in the same place just about every single year. So that's my 10 through 6.
Awesome, man. Great job. Great work there. I like that analysis. Two Sands, what was your thoughts on Joey's 10 through 6? Anything you like?
Well, I like everything you said there. One thing I would just add is Josh Allen finished as the number 6 overall quarterback without Stephon Diggs. Don't sleep on Josh Allen.
Could not agree more. Josh Allen really came on strong last year. So with that being said, where's the Drunken Dolphin? What's your 10 through 6?
All right, now going to my numbers 10 through 6. Let's start number 10. Making a comeback to the top 10 this year is Big Ben Roethlisberger. This guy's taking a pounding in the media, kind of. A lot of Steeler fans and outside Steeler fans think that it's time for them to make a change outside of Ben. That team did well last year without him. If they had Ben quarterbacking that team, they were certainly a playoff team. He's got some weapons, man. He's got Juju. They just added Eric Ebron. He's a touchdown catching machine, that Ebron. And James Washington can definitely spread the defense. James Conner can catch some passes. I like what the Steelers have in place for Ben. I definitely think he's at least a top 10 quarterback this year. Number 9, I'm going to go Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. Going into year number 2, coming off a pretty solid rookie year. I mean, he had 3,700 yards and 20 touchdowns. There's a lot of room for improvement. I think Kingsbury's just going to let him sling it. He's got a great weapon now in DeAndre Hopkins to pair with Larry Fitzgerald. Kenyon Drake can catch passes out of the backfield. Chase Edmonds, he can catch the ball as well. Christian Kirk came on pretty good last year. I kind of like what Murray has around him, and he's going to take that leap. He's going to be the number 9 quarterback this year. Number 8, Deshaun Watson. He would be top 5, but just the loss of DeAndre, as you alluded to, Eric, I don't think he can get better. I think it can only get worse. Kenny Stills is always hurt. Kiki Coutee always hurt. A guy like Hopkins, he demands double and triple teams on a consistent basis, which opens up the field for guys like Coutee and Stills to run around and do what they do. That loss is going to hurt. Brandon Cooks, I mean, we kind of touched on it last show. This guy's been traded 3 times in 4 years, 5 years. I mean, I just don't think it's a very good look. we'll see how it goes. I think Watson's going to put up decent numbers. I just don't think he's going to be top 5 numbers this year. Drew Brees for me at number 7. He's still kicking, man. This guy's still kicking for what? He came in the league in 2001, and now it's his 19th or 20th season. Last year, he missed 5 or 6 games, threw for about 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns. This guy kept his averages up per game last year. He's gonna have a nice season, and I think mentally he's gonna up his game because of who coming to the division. The guy's a competitive guy. I mean, you got to give it to the guy. Mad respect to Drew Brees. I tell Eric he's the baby goat. He knows who Daddy Goat is. Number 6, Russ Wilson. I had a hard time keeping him out of my top 5. I think, Eric, you had him right at number 6 as well, so we're right in line there. This guy is consistent. He eclipsed the 4,000-yard mark last year for the first time in about 2 or 3 years. He's always in the 30s touchdown-wise, working with minimal talent. I mean, if you really think about it, a wide receiver and running back, he always maximizes the talent that he's working with. He's such a smart football player. He's always going to find a way to put up his 4,000 yards, 30 to 35 touchdowns. And I think number 6 is a perfect spot for him. So that's my 10 through 6, boys.
Awesome. I love the energy there. Something that stands out here is that all 3 of us had Russell Wilson at that 6th spot. So I think that's pretty telling of where he belongs. So I just want to say to everybody watching, as always, if you like what you see, go ahead, hit that like button. And also make sure you comment on the comment section. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like, and more importantly, what you want to see here on the show. And us fantasy experts here will bring that to you. So, Trey, what was your thoughts on John's 10 through 6? What'd you like?
So, you had some good names in there. I think I agree with them, pretty much. The top 8 QBs in 2019, each had over 180 rushing yards. So I highly disagree that the league is going away from guys who rush the ball. And I actually think the league is going more towards guys that rush the ball. Just my thoughts. But I thought it was an incredible list, John.
Awesome. So thanks everybody for watching. This has been our 10 through 6 list. Now remember, as I just said a little bit ago, make sure you hit that like button. Tell us what you like in the comment section. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what you want to see. And as always, everybody raise your glasses. We got a cheers on what's been a great 10 through 6. We'll see y'all right back here for 5 through 1.
Banzai!